Before I start today's video, the graphics card, the GTX 660 to be more specifically, which I was planning to use, is broken. It's just not working, so I can't provide data sort of like temps before and after before I clean it. Essentially what it's doing is it's causing my PC to boot loop, and for some reason the screen just turns off every sort of minute or so. It's a bit weird. I've never really seen this happen with a graphics card before, but I'm still going to show you how to strip down a graphics card, clean it out and make it look just like new. And now is probably a good time to do this because the graphics card market isn't showing many signs of improving, especially with ships blocked in canals somewhere in the world. So new stock ain't coming through. You may as well clean the card that you've got right now so it will last a few more years, so you can just sit on it, be happy gaming for a bit longer. Okay, so here's the GPU in question. This is the 660. And to get it apart, all we need to do is take these screws off the back. There is quite a few of them in total, but let's just take them out now. Okay, so I like to do it in a crisscross pattern. So if we go like that, take this screw out, and remember to organise your screws so you don't lose them, because not all of them are actually the same. Right, now we've got every single screw out, we can actually take the PCB from the shroud, so it's just pretty simple. That come away pretty quickly, and you've got to unplug the fan there. So if we just pull on that gently, there we go. So for now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the shroud over there because we're not focusing on that yet, and we're going to focus on the board. So what I would do first is get rid of that thermal paste, especially as it's in such a bad shape. I've never seen thermal paste in such a bad shape. And we've got a lot of dust around here, and we've got some on the back as well, which isn't the best. So let's get it cleaned up. So for this process you want to dip a Q-tip, or cotton buds as we call them in the United Kingdom, in isopropyl alcohol and then just scratch away. Okay, so for the most part that GPU is clean. That is just streaks left from the isopropyl, that'll be okay. And now we need to tackle the rest of the board. So round here, these are pretty dirty. Some of the IO is pretty dirty as well, so let's get them cleaned up as well. For stuff like this I like to use this little paintbrush. It's not an actual anti-static one, but it's been fine for me so far, but make sure you use an anti-static one just to be on the safe side. But hardware is a lot more robust these days, so it can take a lot more, but still I wouldn't recommend it. And it's just perfect for getting away all the sort of loose dust and crap that builds up. This step would be much easier if you had some compressed air, which I actually don't, so I'm doing it pretty much the hard way. Now we can get some isopropyl on, like see this memory chip here, it's a bit dirty, so if we just get all this on the memory chips, get it around where the PCB is dusty and we can't get rid of all the dust, just making our job a little bit easier and making it look like it's been done better. And by the end of it, it should start to look, if I can get it to focus, please focus, there we go, it should start to look a bit like that, which means we're getting all the dirt off. Right, okay, this part of the board is looking a lot cleaner if I get the light to come over here. Still not perfect, but it's to a point where it's not going to affect the actual temperatures, and it looks like their memory chips have been running hot. Now I'm going to flip it over to the back because the back still isn't the best looking, and to tackle this, to be honest, I think we're just going to give it a little brush over, and then we're going to give it a bit of isopropyl as well, because there's like a lot of built-in dust and stuff like that, and it's not very clean, is it? Right, we've now done with the actual board. It's looking a lot cleaner than what it was. Still not entirely perfect, we've got a bit of dust there, just get that off with your finger. You could do with gloves really to do this, but yeah, it is looking way cleaner now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to bring in this. This is totally filthy. But yeah, we also need to take this apart, which is a few screws actually. So let's start taking it apart now. And this is probably the dirtiest graphics card I have ever seen. Right, here's how I would start this now. I will just start brushing all these pieces of like dust and crap out. It is horrible. I'm gonna need to fumigate my room after this. So there's no more real clumped up pieces of dust in there that will affect temps too bad. I'm probably not going to deep clean this, as this graphics card doesn't really mean anything to me. So I'm not going to get in with all the alcohol swab stuff like that in here, just to get the bulk of the dust out, which is what I've done. And yeah, the temps will be okay if it stays like this. You can also take the fan out, but yeah, I'm not going to on this specific occasion. This isn't so much of a tutorial, it's so much of sort of the basics. Right, here are all the thermal pads. We're going to leave the thermal pads on, and we're just going to remove all the dust from around them. As we've done with the heatsink and the copper heat plate, we've got to deal with this monstrosity. You can actually see the outline of where the heatsink was. Okay, now so I've just cleaned up my work area a bit. It's still a bit dusty if I'm honest, but you can't get perfection with stuff like this. I'm going to put the shroud back on. And now we can get our screws in. Right, now we've got the cooler assembled-ish again. Well, yeah, it is assembled, but not really clean. Fan's still in the same place. And yeah, it's not performance damagingly dusty anymore. This was more of a teardown video actually, to be honest, but yeah. Now it's time to apply our thermal paste to the GPU. So we just get our thermal paste here. In this case it's Arctic MX4, which is a pretty good thermal paste. We'll just apply a little onto there like that, which is enough. And I've actually got, which is from my toolkit, but I'll just use it as a thermal paste applicator. So with GPUs, it's all got to be covered, as it's a direct dye. It's not like an IHS where you can miss a bit. And this thermal paste isn't conductive, so I can go over a bit. Okay, so best way to do this is connect the fan first, which is what I'm doing now. You can hardly see it in shot. There we go, I've connected the fan. And just do it facing down, because in that way you're not fighting against gravity. And with this GPU it goes on pretty easily, not going to lie. So let's get it screwed back on. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to screw that one in first, sort of like halfway. And then I'm going to screw this one in about all of the way actually. So it's nice and secure. And then screw that one in fully, and then do the rest around sort of the middle of the actual GPU. Okay, so the GPU is now assembled. It is back to fully working order. Well, it would be if the GPU wasn't fried. But yeah, we can actually give it another test boot, see what happens. Okay, so I have it on my PC now. Whether or not it's going to actually work, I do not know. If I'm honest, I'm just waiting for it to post. I've saved this graphics card. I don't know how I've done it, but I've saved this graphics card. It does say GTX 1080 Ti there, only because that's what I've labelled it as in Reaver Tuner statistics. But the 660 is in there, and it's running fine. So I think it must have been overheating or something like that, because yeah, it's working fine. So I can get another video out of this. So next video, I think I'm going to benchmark this thing, and yeah. So if you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, disliked it, and stay subscribed for future content. And I'll catch you in the next one.